Hi, everyone. We're going to get started. I know a few folks are still joining, but we want to be aware of your time and get things going. So welcome to the Critical Tactics Accelerating Commerce webinar. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 must-have payment features for B2B. So I am Kim Rowell. I am the Marketing Director of Communications at BlueSnap, and I'm here with Mike Masasi, who is the Product Manager at BlueSnap. How are you doing, Mike?
Very good, thanks, Kim.
So we are hoping to get you guys go through this agenda in about 20-25 minutes with a little bit of time for Q&A, so you can kind of be on your way. I know everyone's super busy, but we're going to talk about the market briefly, then we'll dig in. We'll get right into the 5 specific B2B needs. And then we'll talk a little bit about a better payment platform that can really help B2B companies succeed in today's global marketplace. And then we'll end with Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to submit them in the chat. We'll kind of hold them for the end. And we're also recording this, so we'll shoot that around to everybody by the end of the week. So a little bit about the company, who we are. Mike and I are based here in Boston. BlueSnap is a better way to accept payments in 180 countries. We've been around for over 10 years. We have offices in Silicon Valley, Tel Aviv, and London, and we have thousands of customers. You can see a few of them on the bottom. So let's take a look at the market. Mike's going to go into this for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So we think that the market is driving the next generation. And what we mean by the market is really all of you. So it's all of the B2B businesses, how you're choosing to go to market with your products, where and when you're reaching your customers. And that's what's changing, how we as a payment gateway think about our product and enhance our product, adapting to all of the payment scenarios that you bring to us. So when we look at the market broadly as being B2C and B2B, and what we're really excited about is B2B being a even bigger opportunity than B2C, and still having very strong growth, more than 40% by 2020. So about 15% a year, incredibly strong growth for a market that's measured in the trillions of dollars. And then the undercurrent of all that growth are cross-border and mobile payments is really bringing that growth along. So businesses expanding into new geographies and also reaching customers and selling to customers on new devices, primarily the smartphone. So if you're looking at your business and thinking that you're not hitting 15% growth, or you're not getting the growth that the targets that you're setting, it may have something to do with how you're tackling these issues of cross-border and mobile payments. So as we talk today, maybe you'll hopefully be inspired by some ways to improve those operations. So this evolution of mobile and cross-border is, on our side of the industry, changing how we're providing payments. So if we think of the original payment gateways, Gen 1 back in the mid-90s, that was very simple connectivity just for credit cards. You got your gateway account, you had to separately go get a merchant account. And Gen 2 came along, which was really all about aggregation around 2010. There were some APIs that bundled the merchant account and the payment gateway that simplified things a lot, made it really easy for startups and businesses of any size to integrate payments pretty quickly. And now that we have so much growth in mobile and cross-border, the Generation 3 payment gateway we see as being designed around delivering payments as a service and helping businesses accelerate commerce, and doing that with built-in functionality and integrations to third parties that help strengthen mobile and cross-border commerce. so with all of that as context, let's jump into the 5 must-haves for selling and taking payments in B2B. So go to the left around the wheel here. Number 1 is having the ability to accept payments in multiple channels and not forcing your customers to pay in one way. 2 and 3 are about how you operate and accept payments globally, and we'll get into more of the details in the next few slides. But number 2 is really having the right infrastructure to succeed, and number 3 is offering the payment methods that your customers will expect. And then number 4 is really about making sure that your business models are optimized for the products and services that you're selling. So having a payments partner that can support subscriptions, marketplaces, and platform payments and things like that. And then number 5 is what ties it all together, the payment analytics that helps you track the success or issues that you may be having in any of these areas. So going into a little bit more detail about the payments in multiple channels. The first piece of that is having an online and mobile checkout presence that is going to be optimized for payment conversions. If you're selling cross-border, having it easily localized for the region where you're selling, things like having the local currency, language, and payment types. And then thinking about how consistent the checkout experience is for both of these so that your customers are having the same experience regardless of how they're making their payment. Next channel, invoice payments. I think most relevant to everyone on the phone today. There's been even faster than the growth in electronic payments has been the growth in electronic invoicing. Yeah. And now we're seeing really some catch up in terms of integrating payments into the e-invoicing systems that are out there. And it's an easier way for your customers to pay. It's going to reduce the outstanding payables and the collections efforts, and can really improve cash flow. That's really important for every business. And then a virtual terminal is really just a solution for you to be taking orders over the phone, processing credit card payments. Now I think all of these options are something that a subset of your customers will appreciate. So it's important to think about how your payments companies support each of these channels and connect them together so that it's seamless for you as well as your customers. So then, after you've worked through all the different channels and gotten them up and running, it's important to think about how they can help you sell globally. So the first piece of selling globally is, I mentioned before, the infrastructure for payments, which is the acquiring banks that are being used. And there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do global acquiring. A lot of payments companies will use just one bank in their headquartered location. So if it's a U.S. payment company, often they'll just use one U.S. bank partner for all of their transactions. If it's an EU payments company, they'll have an EU bank that they use for their acquiring. And that absolutely hurts your conversion rates. And it also means that your shoppers, if they're paying with credit cards, could see a foreign transaction fee from their issuer, which most of the time payments companies aren't even going to tell you that. You'll hear about it from your customers. So it's definitely better to have acquiring relationships in each of the regions where you're going to be selling. So if you're selling in the U.S., have a U.S. bank, and more than one is preferred. Mm-hmm. If you're selling in Canada, have a bank in Canada. If you're selling in Europe, have a bank in Europe, and so on. And finding a payments partner that can facilitate that is really important.
Right, so the business only has the one connection to worry about to the payment partner, and the payment partner has them also.
Yes, good point. All of that complexity should be behind the scenes. We're not saying that each of you should be going out and getting bank accounts and merchant accounts in all these countries, but that your payments partner should be facilitating that for you. And the global payment types, obviously, you're not going to be successful selling globally if you're not offering the payment types that are expected by your customers in each region. So in the U.S., even credit cards are growing in usage in B2B transactions, especially as subscription payments become more common, and we'll talk about that in a second. But also having options for bank transfers, ACH, SEPA in the EU, wire transfer, universal B2B payment option. And then you might not think about it, but depending on the type of business you sell to, even the wallets, things like Apple Pay and PayPal could be valued as well, more so on the small business side of the market. Then, I mentioned subscriptions. I think the hyper growth of subscriptions really started out in B2C, and everyone was transitioning software as a service, subscription method, absolutely real tangible benefits to that in terms of customer stickiness, solidifying your recurring revenue, making it easier to do your financial planning. And all of that now we see picking up in the B2B space as well, where, whether it's products that are shipped on an automated recurring basis or services that are delivered on an ongoing basis are now being folded into subscription-based business models. So if you haven't thought of that, it's worth considering if it makes sense for you. And if it does, there's obviously room for partnering with a payments company that can help you make sure that it's meeting all of your requirements. Being able to handle things like upgrades and downgrades and the prorated billing, adding things or adding additional charges or coupons and discounts in the middle of your billing cycles is important. And then features like account updater and automated payment reminders to make sure that the payments are always processed successfully. And then marketplaces, so just the theme here of being open to new business models and what's going to make your business the most successful. There's been a lot of growth in B2B marketplaces and B2B platforms and integrating payments into those scenarios. So some of the ways that payments are helping simplify the marketplace or the platform environment is being able to help the platform operator or help the marketplace handle the disbursements to all the parties that are on the marketplace. So we're working with a payments company that can automatically track any commission that's owed to one party on the vendor, doing the vetting and the underwriting and the KYC of everyone that's on the marketplace and facilitating the payments to wherever they need to go. So that it might sound daunting, the idea of building out a marketplace or integrating payments to your platform, but there's a lot of tools out there that can make it really easy for you. And then lastly, payment analytics. So it's fairly common that in the projects that we see, analytics get left to the end, and we're fortunate that we have a great reporting suite that meets all of our customers' needs. But I would always recommend that if you're considering a new payments integration, think about the reporting capabilities that would be provided upfront. Don't leave it until after the integration is done, because you might find that it's the data is only flowing one way. You're sending all this data to your payment gateway, and then when you're looking for some reporting or analysis of that data, it's not provided. So definitely, I think if I can highlight just two of the four circles here, reconciliation is number one. If you can't understand when you get paid and for what transactions and what fees were taken out, I think it's not going to be a successful relationship. Your finance teams will tell you, oh, the technology might be great, but we can't make any sense of it. We can't track which customers have paid and what they paid us for, and it's going to be a frustrating battle. So definitely make sure that all of your settlements can be clearly broken out, and you feel confident in how that's being presented to you.
And this is a benefit too to being able to accept payments multiple ways within a single platform. You get one reconciliation report, right? Or it's easier to reconcile because it's all together versus having to piecemeal it from multiple places.
Yeah, especially if you're selling globally and you're processing in 20 different currencies, and maybe you're getting paid in 4 different currencies. Make sure that you'll get the reporting that goes into the detail of each of those currencies, so you can figure out your euro deposit, which transactions were those, and were they paid in euro or were they paid in Australian dollars or something else. The more you can rely on your payments partner for all of the cross-border issues, from payment processing to reconciliation, the happier you're going to be. And then the other one I would highlight is conversion reporting. Mm-hmm. So being able to understand basically how well your gateway is doing. So whatever acquirers they're using, you should ask them to measure that for you. So if you're sending them 100 transactions and only 80 of them are approved, you want to be able to see that easily, be able to bring it up with them and work on a plan of improving it, and being able to look at conversions multiple different ways, whether it's trending over time or by ticket size. Being able to diagnose any problems is really important. So Kim, I'll send it back over to you to go into the Better Payment Platform.
That was great. So I think we want to just take a minute to talk about, we built our all-in-one payment platform so that any business can accelerate commerce. So as Mike was saying, it's super critical to kind of accept payments, no matter how you want to sell, you can accept payments kind of already built in. So, from online and mobile checkout, invoicing, virtual and point of sale terminal, subscriptions, payments for platforms and marketplaces, those are all built in so with a single integration to our platform, so that businesses can sell the way they want to sell. And then in addition to this, behind the scenes, these are all the built-in products that you get with our platform. So this is super critical so that you don't have to do all of these integrations. So from the global acquiring banks, we have the intelligent payment routing technology behind the scenes that's going to route those transactions to the right place so that you have better conversions. And then Mike was mentioning, the global payments. So we have 100 payments, 100 global payments and 100 currencies, so that your shoppers can pay the way they want to pay. And then e-wallets, we have done all of the integration work to Visa Checkout, Apple Pay, and now the new W3C browser payment, which is coming. We have it now. It's gaining adoption, but that allows the shopper to pay with their stored credit card in the browser. And there's no additional fee for offering wallets. So if you think you don't need it because it costs more, you do need it. It doesn't cost more. It's just like a credit card fee. It's just a seamless way to offer checkout. And then fraud prevention and risk management. We offer a full stack fraud solution. So we partner with Count, and they have world-class fraud prevention solutions. So this is a great value add for our customers. Obviously, chargebacks sometimes can be an issue, so we've got that as well. So if you need that, that's built in. And then, of course, payment analytics and a mobile app so that you can check how you're doing on the go. So we also have a variety. We have actually hundreds of sample partners and ISV integrations, from shopping carts to shipping and taxes, so that depending upon what platform you're using today, you can start accepting payments immediately. Let's just look at a quick case study before we move over to questions. So, I think one of the things we're really trying to stress here is, the challenges of integrating to all of these, features and functionality can be really daunting. So this example here shows that this merchant, ended up coding to 5 different gateways to reach, to sell globally. And then they had all these additional payment integrations that they managed as well. And so this becomes really complicated really, really quickly. So we think, instead of doing that, you should do this. So these are a variety of our customers. We have thousands of customers, but these are, we like to highlight these folks. But we think the all-in-one payment platform can really help save you time and save you money when it comes to accelerating commerce.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the more complex case studies, but I would bet that for the people that are listening in, that you probably average at least 2. If you're processing e-commerce today, you're probably integrated to at least 2 gateways, and then at least 2 other payment-related integrations, whether it was for subscriptions or reporting or something else. And the cost really adds up when you think about the one-time integration, and then also having to maintain all of them over time as their functionality changes.
Right, you have to keep them up to date, right? Yeah. All right, so I think that brings us to questions. I know I've seen a few come through, but feel free and enter them now into the chat box, and we will try to answer them and get you guys on your way. So the first question we have, what are the most popular payment types for B2B?
Yeah, I think most used right now is ACH in the U.S. and the local bank transfer options outside the U.S. Mostly because it more closely resembles the paper checks that a lot of businesses are used to paying with. And that's an easier transition. The fastest growing payment method is definitely credit cards. We're seeing a lot of growth in corporate cards being used for larger purchases, and the sellers really actively promoting and encouraging their customers to pay with cards so that they receive those funds faster. Much quicker time to settlement than receiving funds with ACH.
Okay. I operate in 3 regions today. How many merchant accounts do I need?
Should be just one. BlueSnap would set it up at just one account. So no matter how many regions you're operating in, it's one BlueSnap account that you interact with, that you set up for your integration, and then all of the payment currencies, the settlement currencies, everything is managed behind the scenes to you through that one account.
Cool. And then we have a question that says, you said the cost of offering e-wallet payments is non-existent for the merchant, but I'm assuming there's an increased cost given the card isn't present. That's correct. It's the same. It's a CMP transaction, a card not present transaction. That's the fee, right?
Yeah. So if you're thinking about if you're only taking card present transactions today, and you're thinking about expanding into mobile and e-commerce, those transactions will have a higher interchange fee for being card not present.
Right.
But within that card not present bucket, there's no additional fee for using Apple Pay or Visa Checkout or any of those wallets.
Cool. All right, we have one last question here. So do B2B companies have more payment conversion issues?
They they can, but again, they're no issues that can't be resolved by a good payments partner. So usually when companies come to us, they might be struggling with declines for large dollar credit card volume, or large ticket credit card transactions, or cross-border transactions, and whether it's the global acquiring network with intelligent payment routing that we use to solve for cross-border, or really just the strength of our acquirer relationships helps us smooth out any issues with large ticket transactions. Now, sometimes there's definitely a greater risk that a $10,000 card transaction gets picked up as fraud when it's not. But what that comes down to is your gateway working with the acquirers to make sure that every account is set up correctly, and that means identifying them as B2B and large ticket accounts that will have a large ticket be the typical transaction.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that completes the webinar. So we will send you folks on the way. So as I mentioned, we are recording this. We will shoot you an email by the end of the week with the slides and the recording. So if you'd like to view them again or share them with someone, please do. And we thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone. Bye.